In the depths of space, far from the home worlds of many alien species, a great meeting was taking place. The leaders of different alien races gathered in a huge chamber aboard a massive space station. They had come together to discuss a serious problem. The humans, once thought to be a minor race, were now growing stronger and more daring. Commander Varnock, of the Zathari, a tall alien with blue skin and sharp features, stood at the front of the room. His eyes were serious as he looked at the other leaders. He spoke in a deep voice. "We cannot ignore the threat posed by humanity any longer. They are expanding into our territories, and their technology is advancing at an alarming rate." Queen Alara of the Velern, a graceful alien with shimmering skin, nodded in agreement. "I have seen their ships. They are not like the pathetic vessels we faced before. They are well-armed and well-trained. We must act before it is too late." The other leaders murmured in agreement. They were all worried. The humans had begun to explore other star systems, and their ships had been seen near many alien colonies. The aliens had heard stories of human bravery and cunning, but they never thought humans would become a real threat. As the discussions continued, the atmosphere grew tense. A young alien named Zorak, who was new to the council, raised his hand. Hesitantly, "What if we send a message to them? Perhaps we can warn them to stay away from our territories." Commander Varnock shook his head. "Do not underestimate them, Zorak. They will not listen. They believe themselves to be the rightful rulers of the stars. Sending a message could make them angry." The council continued to debate their options. Some suggested forming an alliance with other alien races, while others believed they should strike first. As the discussions went on, the fear among the leaders grew. They had seen how humans fought in the past. They were fierce warriors, willing to risk everything for their survival. Meanwhile, on a human warship named the USS Valor, Captain Alex Foster was preparing for his next mission. He stood on the bridge looking out at the stars. The ship was new, equipped with the latest technology. Captain Foster had trained hard to become a leader. He was determined to show the galaxy that humans could stand up to any challenge. Lieutenant Mia Lane, the ship's pilot, entered the bridge with a bright smile. She was known for her quick thinking and exceptional skills. "Captain, we just received a distress signal from the colony on Asteris 4. They are under attack by an alien fleet." Captain Foster turned to her, his expression serious. "Know about the attackers? They're not from any race we have encountered before." "Their ships outnumber ours, but they seem to lack coordination," Mia replied. Tapping on her console to bring up more information, Captain Foster felt a spark of determination. This was their chance to prove themselves. "Prepare the ship for battle. We cannot let those colonists suffer. Set a course for Asteris 4. As the USS Valor moved through space, the crew worked together, preparing for what lay ahead. They were excited and nervous, aware that this mission could change everything. "Captain." Foster gathered his officers for a quick briefing. "This is our first real test," he said, looking each of them in the eyes. "I want everyone to remember our training. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for humanity and for those who cannot defend themselves." The crew nodded, feeling the weight of his words. They knew the risks, but they were ready to face them. As they approached Asteris 4, the view screen showed the planet below. It was a beautiful world, now marred by the chaos of battle. Alien ships swarmed around the colony like angry hornets, firing beams of energy down onto the surface. "Captain, we are almost in range," Mia said, her fingers flying across the controls. All right, let's show them what we can do." "Gauge the enemy," he ordered, his voice steady. The USS Valor moved into the fray, its weapons firing with precision. The crew worked like a well-oiled machine, each member knowing their role. As they engaged the alien ships, Captain Foster felt a surge of pride. They were not just humans. They were a force to be reckoned with. Alien ships began to fall, there, pilots surprised by the humans' fierce resistance. Commander Varnock was watching from his flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed the others. He felt anger and fear as he saw his forces being pushed back. "What is happening? Like this?" he demanded, slamming his fist on the console. His first officer, a smaller alien named Rax, tried to calm him down. "Commander, we underestimated them. They are fighting with a strength we did not expect. Varnak glared at the screen, his mind racing. He had heard the stories of human bravery, but had never believed they could be true. We must regroup and attack again. We cannot let them win. Back on the USS Valor, the crew was filled with adrenaline. They were winning, but they knew the battle was far from over. Captain Foster was focused, aware that every decision could mean life or death for them and the colonists below. "Target their command ship," he commanded, looking at the view screen, where the massive alien vessel loomed. If they could take it down, the rest of the alien fleet would crumble. Mia nodded, her eyes narrowing in concentration. Firing torpedoes now. The torpedoes shot through space, striking the command ship and causing a massive explosion. The crew cheered, but Captain Foster remained focused. "Stay alert. It will retaliate," he reminded them. On the alien ships, panic spread as their command ship was destroyed. Varnak felt his grip on the situation slipping away. He realized that the humans were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for their place in the galaxy. The battle raged on, and the crew of the USS Valor fought with everything they had. They were not just soldiers, they were the hope of humanity. As the fight continued, it became clear that this was only the beginning. The aliens would not back down easily, and the humans would need to stay strong in the face of the unknown. This battle was a turning point, and both sides understood that the outcome could change the fate of the galaxy forever. As the battle continued, the USS Valor moved through the chaos of the fight, its crew focused on their mission. Captain Alex Foster stood confidently at the helm, keeping a close eye on the view screen. The sight of enemy ships exploding in bright flashes gave him a rush of adrenaline, but he knew they could not let their guard down. The fight was far from over. Lieutenant Mia Lane expertly maneuvered the ship, dodging enemy fire and finding openings to strike back. Her heart raced as she worked the controls. "Captain, we are taking heavy fire from the left flank," she shouted. "Adjust our position and fire at will," Captain Foster ordered. He trusted Mia's skills completely and knew she would do everything she could to keep them safe. The crew worked together like a well-trained team. Each member understood their role and executed their tasks with precision. The ship shook as enemy blasts hit their shields, but the crew remained focused. They were determined to protect the colony and each other. Suddenly, a loud alarm blared through the ship. "Captain, we have an incoming missile," the weapons officer called out, panic creeping into his voice. "Evasive maneuvers." "Captain," Foster shouted, "Mia, get us out of here!"
Ah!
Mia quickly adjusted the controls, pulling the ship into a sharp turn. The missile shot past them, narrowly missing the Valor. The crew let out a collective sigh of relief, but they knew they had to stay alert. "Sir, we are running low on ammunition," the weapons officer reported, looking worried. "Then we need to end this fight quickly," Captain Foster said, determination in his voice. He glanced at the view screen where the alien fleet was beginning to regroup. "We need to take out their command ship. That will break their morale." Mia nodded, her focus unwavering. "I'm locking on to the command ship now," she said, her fingers flying over the controls as the ship prepared to fire. Captain Foster noticed something strange. The aliens were moving in a different formation, almost as if they were trying to trap the Valor. "Mia, be careful. They might be trying to surround us," he warned. Just as he spoke, several alien ships came into view from behind. They had been lying in wait for the perfect moment to strike. "Brace for impact," Mia shouted as the first blast hit the ship. Shaking everyone inside, the crew struggled to maintain control as the ship rocked back and forth. Captain Foster held onto the console, his mind racing. They needed a plan, and they needed it fast. "Redirect power to the shields," he ordered. "We can't afford to take any more hits." The engineering crew worked quickly, ensuring that the shields were strengthened. The ship hummed with energy as they reinforced their defenses. "Captain, our shields are holding, but we can't last long like this," the engineer reported, sweat dripping from his brow. "Then we have to go on the offensive," Captain Foster said, taking a deep breath. "Mia, do you see any openings?" "We need to break through their lines," Mia scanned the view screen, her eyes darting across the chaotic battlefield. She noticed a gap in the alien formation. There! If we can move through there, we can reach their command ship, she exclaimed. Let's do it, Captain Foster replied, feeling a surge of hope. With determination, Mia piloted the Valor toward the opening. The ship zoomed through the enemy lines, avoiding blasts and narrowly escaping destruction. The crew cheered as they made it to the other side, but their work was just beginning. Prepare for a full assault on the command ship, Captain Foster commanded. This is our chance to turn the tide. Mia nodded, her fingers flying over the controls again. Locking on now, she said, her heart pounding, the ship's weapons charged up, ready to unleash their fury. Approached the command ship, the crew felt a mix of excitement and fear. Now, this was the moment they had trained for, but it was also the most dangerous part of the mission. Fire! Captain Foster shouted. The ship shook as it unleashed a barrage of weapons at the command ship. Bright beams of energy shot out, striking the enemy vessel with precision. Explosions erupted on the alien ship, causing it to sway dangerously. Direct hit! The weapons officer cheered. But the battle was not over. The remaining alien ships quickly turned their focus on the Valar, firing everything they had left. The ship shook violently as more blasts hit their shields and alarms blared throughout the vessel. Captain, our shields are weakening. Engineer called out urgently. Keep firing at that command ship, Captain Foster ordered, refusing to give in to fear. We can't let up now. The crew continued to fire at the command ship while dodging incoming attacks. The tension was palpable, each second feeling like an eternity. They needed to destroy the command ship quickly before they were overwhelmed. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the command ship began to break apart. Flames surged from its sides, and the vessel started to tilt. It's going down, Mia shouted, her voice filled with triumph. The crew erupted in cheers as the command ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. But their celebration was short-lived. The remaining alien ships, now without leadership, began to panic. Captain, they are retreating, the weapons officer reported, astonished. Don't let them get away. We need to secure our victory, Captain Foster instructed. The crew worked quickly, firing at the fleeing ships. One by one, the alien vessels were taken down, their pilots unable to escape. As the last alien ship fell, the crew of the USS Valor erupted in cheers. They had won the battle, but Captain Foster knew this was just the beginning. Excellent work, everyone, he said, pride swelling in his chest. We showed them what humanity is capable of. But amidst the celebration, a weight of reality hung over him. He had been victorious today, but the aliens would not forget this defeat. The fear that gripped their hearts would only grow stronger. As the USS Valor prepared to return to the colony, Captain Foster took a moment to reflect. He knew that humanity had made a mark in the galaxy, but they had also stirred a hornet's nest. The aliens would be back, and they would come with a vengeance. Prepare to return to base, he ordered, his voice steady. As the ship turned away from the battlefield, the crew felt a sense of accomplishment, but also a sense of unease. They had proven themselves today, but the future was uncertain. This battle was only the beginning of a much larger war, and they would need to be ready for whatever came next. The stars outside the ship glimmered like diamonds. They felt far from safe. Humanity was now a target, and they would need to unite and prepare for the challenges ahead. The galaxy was vast, and the unknown loomed just beyond the horizon. The crew of the USS Valor returned to their home base, a large space station orbiting Earth. The atmosphere was filled with excitement and relief. They had won a significant battle, but the reality of their situation weighed heavily on them. Captain Alex Foster stood on the bridge reviewing the reports of the battle. Captain Rasucha, the crew is eager to celebrate our victory, Lieutenant Mia Lane said, her eyes shining with pride. We will celebrate, but we must also prepare, Captain, Foster replied. Today was just one battle in a much larger war. We need to be ready for the retaliation from the aliens. Mia nodded, understanding the seriousness of the situation. The crew had faced danger and emerged victorious, but they knew that the aliens would not give up easily. As they docked at the space station, the crew disembarked, greeted by fellow soldiers and officers. There was laughter and cheering, but Captain Foster remained serious. He knew that their victory would only anger the alien coalition, and new battles would soon come. In the command center, the leaders of the space station were waiting for the Valor's crew. The atmosphere was tense as Captain Foster and his officers entered the room. Captain Foster. "Congratulations on your victory," Admiral Reynolds said, shaking his hand firmly. "But we need to discuss the future." "Thank you, Admiral." Captain Foster replied, "We are ready to listen." "What are your orders?" "We must prepare for a possible counterattack." "The alien coalition is likely to retaliate with greater force," Admiral Reynolds explained. "We need to gather intelligence on their movements." Mia stepped forward. "We have analyzed the data from the battle. The aliens were not as organized as we expected. They seemed to panic when their command ship was destroyed." "Good. That gives us an advantage," Admiral Reynolds said. "We can exploit their weaknesses. But we need to be cautious. We cannot underestimate them again." As the meeting continued, Captain Foster felt a sense of responsibility. He was leading the crew into uncertain times. They had proven their strength, but it was clear that the challenges ahead would be greater than before. After the meeting, the crew gathered in the mess hall. The mood was lighter, and they celebrated their success with food and drinks. Laughter filled the room as they shared stories of the battle. "Did you see the look on that alien's face when we hit their command ship?" Mia laughed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I thought they were going to run away," joked one of the crew members, making everyone laugh harder. Captain Foster watched his crew with pride. They had fought bravely and deserved this moment of joy. But he also knew that soon they would face more danger. As the celebration continued, Commander Varnock of the Zithari was plotting his next move. He was furious about the defeat and determined to avenge his fallen comrades. In the dark of space, his flagship loomed, the Zithari dreadnought, massive and intimidating. "Prepare for war," he ordered his crew, his voice low and filled with rage. "We will show the humans that they are not as strong as they think. They have made a grave mistake." His first officer, Rax, stood beside him, looking worried. "Commander, they are more powerful than we anticipated. We must gather our forces and strategize carefully." "I do not care about their power," Varnock snapped. "We will crush them, gather the other leaders. We need to unite our forces and launch a full-scale attack on the humans." Rax nodded, knowing that the commander's anger could lead them into danger. They needed to be smart and precise. The aliens had suffered a loss, and they needed to strike back effectively, back on the USS Valor. Captain Foster knew they needed to stay on high alert. The intelligence team was working hard to gather information on enemy movements. They needed to anticipate the aliens' next move. "Lieutenant Lane," Captain Foster called, "I want you to lead the reconnaissance team. We need to find out where the Zithari are gathering their forces." Mia nodded, her expression serious. "I will get our best pilots ready. We will not let them surprise us again." As Mia prepared for the mission, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was dangerous work, but she was ready to face the challenge. The crew had proven their strength, and they were determined to protect humanity. The next day, Mia and her team launched into space aboard a small scout ship. They moved silently through the vastness of space, keeping their sensors active. Their mission was to gather information without being detected by the alien fleet. "Stay close and keep a low profile," Mia instructed her crew. "We do not want to attract any attention." The scout ship glided through the stars, and Mia felt a rush of adrenaline. She loved flying, and this mission was crucial for the safety of their people. After several hours of searching, they spotted something unusual in the distance. A large cluster of alien ships was gathered near a nearby asteroid belt, hidden from plain sight. "Mia, look at that," one of her crew members said, pointing at the screen. "They are gathering a significant force. Let's get closer." Mia replied, her heart racing. They needed to confirm the numbers and types of ships as they approached the alien fleet. Mia's fingers danced over the controls. She kept the ship hidden behind the asteroids, using them as cover. The sight of the alien ships made her stomach turn. They were preparing for war, and she knew they had to report back quickly. The scout ship's sensors picked up chatter among the alien ships. Mia listened closely, trying to gather as much information as possible. The aliens were discussing their plans for a counterattack against the humans. They are planning to strike soon, Mia said, her voice tense. We need to get this information back to Captain Foster. Just then, an alarm blared on the ship. They've spotted us. One of her crew members shouted. Get us out of here, Mia shouted, her heart pounding. She quickly piloted the ship away from the alien fleet, but it was too late. The alarms blared as alien ships began to pursue them. Accelerate. We need to outrun them. Mia pushed the engines to their limits, the ship shaking under the strain. The alien ships were gaining fast, firing countermeasures. Another crew member called out as they launched flares to confuse their pursuers. The scout ship darted in, out of the asteroids, trying to lose the alien ships. Mia's hands were steady on the controls, but inside, she felt the pressure. They had to return safely with the critical information. Come on, she muttered, urging the ship to go faster. The alien ships were relentless, firing energy, blasts that narrowly missed them. Suddenly, one of the blasts hit the ship, causing a jolt that sent the crew flying. We've lost power to the aft thrusters, someone yelled. Hang on, Mia shouted, fighting to regain control. They were close to the asteroid belt. She hoped they could use it to their advantage. With a sudden burst of determination, she maneuvered the ship toward the nearest asteroid. The alien ships followed closely, but they were not as agile. Now, Mia yelled as they entered the asteroid field, weaving through the massive rocks. The alien ships struggled to keep up, and one collided with an asteroid, exploding in a flash of light. Mia felt a surge of hope as they gained distance. We're getting away. But there was no time to celebrate. They needed to report back to the Valar. As they exited the asteroid field, they activated their distress signal, hoping their allies would find them. Keep an eye out for the Valar, Mia instructed her crew. They will come for us. Then, a familiar shape appeared in the distance. The USS Valor emerged from hyperspace, its weapons ready. There they are. One of the crew members shouted with relief. Mia, bring us alongside. Captain Foster's voice crackled over the comms. We're coming to get you. Mia quickly adjusted their course, relief flooding through her. The Valor fired at the pursuing alien ships, covering their escape. With a final burst of speed, Mia guided the scout ship alongside the Valar. The crew quickly prepared to board. Get inside. Now. Captain Foster ordered as the last alien ship fell behind, defeated. As they boarded, Mia felt the weight of the mission lift from her shoulders. They had gathered crucial intelligence, and now they were safe. Good work, everyone. Captain Foster praised as they regrouped. Now let's see what we gathered and prepare for what's next. The fight is not over yet. The crew exchanged relieved glances, knowing that they had faced danger and come out stronger. They had proven themselves, but the challenges ahead were still unknown. The war was only just beginning. As the days passed, the crew of the USS Valor worked hard to prepare for the next phase of their mission. They had gathered crucial intelligence on the alien coalition, and Captain Alex Foster knew they needed to act quickly. The information revealed that the Zithri and their allies were uniting their forces for a massive counterattack. In the command center of the Valar, Captain Foster studied the data on the large screen. The alien ships were gathering near the planet Sithara, a strategic location that would give them a strong advantage in attacking human territories, Captain. We need to move fast, Lieutenant Mialane said, looking over his shoulder. We wait too long, they could launch their attack before we are ready. I agree, Captain Foster replied, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. We need to strike first. We cannot allow them to take the initiative. The crew gathered around the table as Captain Foster outlined his plan. We will launch a surprise attack on the alien fleet at Zithra. Our goal is to disrupt their forces and prevent them from launching their counterattack. The crew nodded, their expressions serious. They understood the stakes. If they failed, the consequences could be dire for humanity. Lieutenant Lane, I want you to lead the strike team, Captain Foster said. You know the tactics we used in the last battle, and I trust your judgment. Mia felt a rush of excitement mixed with fear. I won't let you down, Captain, she replied confidently. As the crew prepared for battle, there was a sense of determination in the air. They had faced danger before and emerged victorious. Now they were ready to take the fight to the aliens. The USS Valor launched into space, its engines roaring with power. The crew was focused, each member knowing their role. As they approached Zethera, the view screen displayed the alien fleet gathered near the planet. "Steady, everyone," Captain Foster said, his voice calm. "We are going to move in quickly and hit them hard." Mia piloted the ship with precision, weaving through the stars as they closed in on their target. The alien ships were massive, but the crew of the Valar had proven they could hold their own against them. "Prepare for weapons." "To be armed," Captain Foster ordered. "We will strike as soon as we are in range." The tension grew as they got closer. The alien ships were unaware of their approach, and Captain Foster knew this was their chance. "Now," he shouted. Mia pressed the button, and the Valar unleashed a barrage of weapons at the unsuspecting alien fleet. Bright beams of energy shot out, striking the enemy ships with force. The element of surprise worked in their favor as explosions erupted across the alien formation. Direct hits. The weapons officer cheered. The crew felt a surge of adrenaline. As they engaged the enemy, the alien ships began to respond, firing back at the Valor. The ship shook as blasts hit their shields. But the crew remained determined. "Captain, they are starting to organize," Mia warned, her fingers flying over the controls. "We need to keep the pressure on them. Maintain fire on their command ship," Captain Foster ordered. "If we can take it out, the rest will fall apart." Mia nodded, piloting the ship. With skill, they moved through the chaos, avoiding enemy fire while targeting the command ship. The crew worked together, their training shining through as they focused on their mission. As they pressed the attack, the alien ships began to retaliate. The battle grew fiercer, with explosions lighting up the darkness of space. Captain Foster felt the weight of leadership on his shoulders, knowing that every decision mattered. "Mia, watch your six," the weapons officer shouted as an alien ship flanked them. Mia quickly turned the ship, dodging the incoming fire just in time. "I see them," she shouted, firing back at the attacking ship and watching as it exploded in a burst of flames. "Great shot," Captain Foster encouraged, feeling the tension lift slightly, but the battle was far from over. The alien command ship began to regroup its forces, and Captain Foster knew they had to act quickly. "Target their engines," he ordered. "If we can disable their command ship, we can break their line." Mia locked onto the target, her heart pounding. Firing. Now. The ship shook as they fired at the command ship's engines. Bright beams of energy struck the vessel, causing sparks to fly. The command ship shuddered but did not go down. "Again," Captain Foster shouted. Mia fired again, and this time, the engines exploded, sending the command ship into a tailspin. "They're losing control," she cried out, watching as the ship drifted, unable to coordinate its forces. "Now's our chance." Captain Foster yelled, "Let's finish this." The crew rallied, their spirits lifted by the sight of the command ship in disarray. They pressed the attack, focusing on the remaining alien vessels. The alien fleet was beginning to fall apart, and the humans knew they had to exploit the advantage as the battle raged on. Captain Foster noticed something out of the corner of his eye. A large alien ship, one of the Zithari dreadnoughts, was moving toward them, its weapons charging. "Mia, we have a dreadnought incoming," he warned. "Brace for impact," she shouted, quickly maneuvering the ship to avoid the incoming fire. The dreadnought fired, and the Valar shook violently as the blast struck their shields. Alarms blared throughout the ship, and the crew struggled to maintain control. "Damage report," Captain Foster barked. "Shields are holding, but we are taking heavy damage to the hull." The engineer replied, his voice tense. "Redirect." "All power to the forward shields," Captain Foster ordered. "We can't let that dreadnought get a clear shot." Mia piloted the ship expertly, dodging incoming fire while keeping an eye on the dreadnought. "We need to take it out quickly. It's too powerful." Captain Foster nodded, knowing they needed to act fast. "Let's flank it." "Mia, can you?" "Get us behind it. I'll try." she replied, pulling the ship into a sharp turn. The crew held on as the Valor spun, moving into position behind the dreadnought. Target its weapons systems, Captain Foster shouted. We'll take out its firepower. As they lined up their shot, Mia felt a surge of determination. This was their moment to turn the tide. Firing, she called out, pressing the button to unleash their weapons. The blasts hit the dreadnought, causing it to shudder. The crew cheered, but they knew it was not over yet. The dreadnought turned to face them, its weapons charging for another shot. Get ready to evade, Captain Foster warned. Mia quickly adjusted the controls, preparing to dodge the incoming. Fire. Now, she shouted as the dreadnought fired. The Valar spun away just in time, the blast missing them by inches. Captain Foster felt his heart race as he realized how close they had come. Keep firing. We can't let up, he ordered. Crew worked together, pouring everything they had into the attack on the dreadnought. The alien ship began to falter, its weapons throwing sparks as they struggled to respond. Finally, with one last shot, the dreadnought erupted into flames, breaking apart in a spectacular explosion. The crew of the Valar erupted in cheers there, excitement echoing through the ship. We did it, Mia shouted, her voice filled with joy. But Captain Foster remained focused. Stay alert. We're not finished yet. Looking at the remaining alien ships, he could see that the tide had turned. The alien fleet was beginning to retreat, their formation breaking apart in the chaos. Let's finish this, Captain Foster said, feeling a surge of confidence. Press the attack. With renewed determination, the crew of the Valar pushed forward, taking down the remaining alien ships one by one. The battle was theirs, and they could feel the victory in their grasp. As the last alien ship fell, the crew erupted in cheers once again. It fought bravely and won a hard battle. Excellent work. Everyone, Captain Foster praised, a smile breaking across his face. We have shown them that humanity will not back down. But even in the moment of victory, Captain Foster knew that the war was not over. The aliens would regroup, and new challenges would arise. They had proven themselves today, but the future was uncertain. As the USS Valor returned to base, the crew felt a sense of accomplishment. They had faced their fears and emerged stronger. They also knew that they needed to stay vigilant. The galaxy was vast, and the fight for their future was just beginning. As the USS Valor returned to its home base, the crew felt a mix of relief and anticipation. They had won an important battle against the Zithri and their allies. But they all knew that this victory was just one step in a larger conflict. Captain Alex Foster stood on the bridge looking out at the stars. The crew had fought bravely, but new challenges awaited them once docked. The crew disembarked, greeted by applause and cheers from their fellow soldiers. The atmosphere was filled with excitement, but Captain Foster remained aware of the reality they faced. The aliens would not forget this defeat as a lie. In the command center, Admiral Reynolds was waiting to speak with Captain Foster and his crew. The air was thick with tension as they entered the room, still buzzing from their victory. Congratulations on your victory, Captain Admiral Reynolds said, shaking Foster's hand firmly. But we need to discuss our next steps. The aliens will regroup and retaliate. Captain Foster nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. Thank you, Admiral. We are ready to hear your orders. The alien coalition is likely to strike again soon. We need to gather intelligence on their movements and prepare our defenses, Admiral Reynolds explained. I want you to lead a team to scout their territory and gather information. Understood, Admiral, Captain Foster replied. We will be ready. As the meeting concluded, the crew returned to the Valar, their determination renewed. They knew their mission was critical. They would do everything in their power to protect humanity. Mia Lane, the ship's pilot, felt a sense of responsibility. She had led the strike team successfully, but now they needed to be even more strategic. Captain, I have some ideas for our next mission, she said, approaching Foster. I'm all ears, Lieutenant, he replied, encouraging her to share. Her thoughts? I think we should focus on finding the Zithri's main base. If we can locate their command center, we can disrupt their plans and prevent them from organizing, Mia suggested. Captain Foster considered her words carefully. That's a solid plan, We need to hit them where it hurts, the crew began. To prepare for their next mission, they worked tirelessly, analyzing data and strategizing their approach. The atmosphere on the Valar was serious, but focused. They knew the risks, but they were ready to face them head-on. Days later, the crew launched into space once again, their hearts filled with determination. The ship moved swiftly through the stars, heading toward the Zithari territory. Foster stood on the bridge, watching as they approached the alien-controlled area. Mia, keep our sensors active. We need to detect any enemy ships, he instructed. Roger that, Captain, she replied, her eyes scanning the VIEWSCR-EN. As they entered the alien territory, the tension grew. The crew knew they were entering a dangerous zone, but they were prepared to fight for their survival. Captain, I'm picking up faint signals from a nearby asteroid belt, Mia reported. It could be a hidden base. Let's check it out, Captain Foster said, feeling a surge of excitement. We need to gather as much information as we can. The Valar moved cautiously toward the asteroid belt, using the asteroids for cover. As they got closer, the sensors picked up more activity. There are multiple ships docked at that base, Mia said, her voice steady. Can we get a clear view? Captain Foster asked. Mia adjusted the sensors, and the view screen displayed a hidden base surrounded by alien ships. It was larger than they had expected. This is it, Captain Foster said, his voice low. If we can disrupt their operations, we could turn the tide of this war. Captain, we should be careful. They might have defenses we are not aware of, one of the crew members cautioned. I understand the risks, but we must take the chance. We need to gather intelligence and report back, Captain Foster replied, his determination clear. The crew prepared for their mission, arming the ships, weapons, and ensuring their systems were ready. Mia, I want you to lead a small team to infiltrate the base. Gather as much information as you can, but stay hidden, Captain Foster instructed. Understood, Captain? We'll be quick and quiet, Mia said, her heart racing with excitement. In fear, as they approached the base, Mia and her team boarded a small shuttle, ready to make their way to the asteroid. Stay alert, everyone, she reminded her team. We need to stick together. The shuttle glided silently through the shadows, avoiding detection. They landed on a small landing pad, quickly disembarking and moving toward the entrance of the base. The base was heavily guarded, but Mia and her team used the shadows to their advantage. They moved quietly, avoiding the patrols as they made their way inside. Keep an eye out for any security cameras, Mia whispered. Leading the way, as they navigated the base, they found themselves in a large control room filled with alien technology. This is it, Mia said, her eyes wide with excitement. Let's gather as much data as we can. The team quickly set to work, downloading information from the alien computers. They found details about the Zithari's plans, including upcoming attacks on human colonies. This is critical information, one of the crew members said, looking at the data. We need to get this back to the Valar. Suddenly, alarms blared. Throughout the base, we've been detected, Mia shouted, panic rising in her chest. Time to go. Another crew member yelled as they raced back toward the shuttle. As they sprinted through the base, they could hear the sounds of alien soldiers following them. Hurry. Mia urged, adrenaline pumping through her veins. They reached the shuttle just as alien soldiers rounded the corner. Get in now, Mia shouted, pushing her team inside. The shuttle's engines roared to life as they took off, narrowly escaping the base. Alien ships began to fire at them, but Mia piloted the shuttle with skill, dodging the blasts. Hold on, she yelled as they sped away from the base, the alien ships in hot pursuit. Back on the Valar. Captain Foster watched the view screen anxiously as the shuttle escaped. Mia, report, he said, his voice tense. We've got the data, but we're being chased, Mia replied, her heart racing. Prepare to assist them, Captain Foster ordered. The Valar moved into position, its weapons ready. Let's cover them, he commanded. As the shuttle darted through space, the Valar engaged the alien ships, firing at their pursuers. Bright beams of energy shot out, striking the alien vessels. Keep firing, Captain Foster shouted, watching as the alien ships began to fall. With the Valar's help, Mia and her team managed to escape. They returned to the Valor, their hearts still pounding. "Great work, everyone," Captain Foster praised as they regrouped. "You brought back vital information." As the crew analyzed the data, they realized the true extent of the Zetheres' plans. They were preparing for an all-out assault on the nearest human colonies. "We need to warn them," Captain Foster said firmly. "We must prepare our defenses and alert the other fleets." The crew sprang into action, knowing that time was of the essence. They worked tirelessly to relay the information to other human ships and colonies as they prepared for the impending attack. Captain Foster felt a sense of pride in his crew. They had faced danger and emerged stronger. But he also felt the weight of responsibility. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. Days passed as they fortified their defenses, preparing for the aliens' next move. The crew trained hard, knowing that they would need to fight once again. Finally, the day of the attack arrived. Captain Foster stood on the bridge, his heart steady. "This is it, everyone," he said, looking at his crew. "We have fought bravely, and we will fight again. We are humanity's hope." As the alien fleet approached, the crew of the USS Valor prepared for battle. They had proven themselves time and time again, and now they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With determination in their hearts, stood together as one, ready to defend their home and protect their future. The fight for humanity was far from over, but they would face it together, united and strong.